What's happening, y'all? A few days ago, I did a video where I talked about Biden hosting a forum at the White House where Dylan Mulvaney, a guy pretending to be a girl, got to interview him and ask him questions about so called trans issues.
Mr. President, this is my 221st day of publicly transitioning. I am extremely privileged to live in a state that allows me access to the resources I need, and that decision is just between me and my doctors. But many states have lawmakers that feel like they can involve themselves in this very personal process. Do you think states should have a right to ban gender affirming healthcare?
I don't think any state or anybody should have the right to do that as a moral question and as a legal question. I just think it's wrong. I think I was saying before we started that my son, my deceased son, used to be the Attorney General of the state of Delaware. He passed the broadest piece of legislation that he, as Attorney General, was able to convince the legislature and the governor to sign that dealt with all gender affirming capability. I mean, there's a lot of, you sometimes they try to block you from being able to access certain medicines, being able to access certain procedures, and so on. None of that should be available. I mean, no state should be able to do that, in my view. So I feel very, very strongly that you should have every single solitary right, including use of your gender identity bathrooms in public.
Well, I recently came across a video of the late Beau Biden. Well, you're just going to want to see this. So let's get after it. Now, I'm not going to rehash what I talked about in that previous video. Transing the kids is one of the most important and definitely the most tragic issue that we face at this point in history. So I will continue to talk about it until the left stops trying to trans the kids. But you heard in that clip in the open how Beau Biden got legislation passed regarding protections for trans people. But of course, Biden the elder completely misrepresented the legislation. The legislation was called SB 97. I forget the catchy name they gave it. But it was signed into law back in Delaware back in 2013. And it had to do with gender expression and protecting trans people from hate crimes and things of that nature. It had nothing to do with so-called gender affirming healthcare. Now, I suspect, based on the video that we're about to see, that Biden the younger would not have been on board with the type of healthcare that Mr. Mulvaney is promoting.
We as a society teach our children and teach our families sometimes to mind our own business. And that makes sense in a lot of realms. That's sometimes what I teach my children. In certain realms, that's what I was taught. But this is an area where we should not mind our own business because it is our business. The well-being and welfare of a child is our business. And that is what we need to begin to teach the citizens of the state, which I think know it in their heart and in their head already. But be able to break through that when you see that thing, don't avert your eyes. Follow your gut to intervene and help and do something about it. I can't think of a higher responsibility that citizens of this great state or this nation have than to protect children. And if you look what's going on here in our state or across the country, we adults, it is our responsibility to be their voice and to intervene on their behalf.
Yeah, I called him Mr. Mulvaney. He's a guy. He's a guy pretending to be a girl. He's a guy in woman face was a term I heard referenced a few days ago. That is true cultural appropriation. Anyway, even when and if he gets his equipment lopped off. And I'm not sure that he ever will, because he's got this thing going now where he's trying to normalize the bulge. Look it up if you want. Use your imagination, but I think you get what's going on there. But anyway, back to Biden the younger. In that clip, he wasn't referencing transing the kids. I mean, this was 10, 11, 12 years ago. But he was all about protecting kids. And what's happening right now with the transing of kids is abuse. It's abuse and grooming and pretty much every other negative adjective you want to ascribe to it. And it doesn't sound like he would have been on board with it. I mean, they're chopping off adolescent girls and even younger breast tissue. They claim they're not lopping off other body parts of male children who are confused. But I'm sure Vanderbilt and some other places have done it to children younger than adolescents. But I can't believe, and I know I normally say I can because it's coming from the left, but in this instance, I can't believe that we're even having these conversations, because it's just so patently ridiculous and dangerous and abusive to children that I don't understand how this is not just being allowed, but even being considered. But yet, here we are. Anyway, that's it for right now. Please comment down below. I would love to hear what you think. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe and share this video out, whether you're watching on Rumble or YouTube. And as always, it is crucial that you keep your head on a swivel to keep you, your family, your friends, your community safe. Do that, and we'll see you next time right here on the Liberty Cast.